So this top 5 of the week is going to be NES Sports Games. And I sat down here with about 10 or 11 sports games, a few of them knowing that they were going to be on the list, and a few of them not knowing whether they'd make it or not. And I will talk about a special mention at the end because honestly, I played a bunch of basketball games and there was only one that really stood out. However, it didn't stand out well enough to be on this list. So we're going to start off with Bad News Baseball. I have talked about this on the channel before. I've picked it up and played it, and man, it is a fun game. I will show you some footage and maybe put it in here while I'm talking, but it is a bunch of fun. This game is weird and wacky, but at the same time, it is down to the T of what you would expect a baseball game to be. Because honestly, whenever I see baseball, I think of kind of boring games. Why isn't this coming on? I think of kind of boring games, and honestly, this one's not that boring. It is a lot of fun playing it multiplayer. Playing it single player isn't that bad as well, but playing this game multiplayer is way better. I love whenever you hit that home run and it hits to that cutscene that's very animated, kind of like this style. I love it, and it makes it so more of a better game. Not more of a, it makes it a better game because it's not just the same thing. Now when I say it's not just the same thing, I mean, yes, you're still hitting the ball, running around the bases, and pitching and trying to catch the ball and all that stuff. However, it's a nice little break. It's a difficult game when you're playing against the computer. I have never been all that great playing against the computer, but whenever I play against people, for some reason, I'm very good at it. So I enjoy playing this game, and it is always a lot of fun. And that's why I had to add Bad News Baseball to the game list, because honestly, I picked this up and I put it in and I really enjoyed it. Like, baseball games are give and take. The NES has a ton of baseball games, but this one is a lot of fun to play. The next game we have on this list is 720, and quite honestly, it is a very great game. It is very fun. But at the same time, it's not all that difficult, but it can be. I love this game, and I've loved this forever. I had this on the Game Boy as well, and honestly, this was an arcade game, and that's where it really got its notoriety. But 720 is an awesome game, and honestly, I have fun every time I play it, and it seems to be like a good game. I get to be able to skate through it. I get to do some of the cool tricks and all that stuff. And honestly, it's a lot of fun, and I mean, you can't go wrong with it. 720 is a really fun game because you get all the aspects of a skateboarding game. Now, when I think skateboarding game, and probably as you do too, we all think of Tony Hawk. Well, this predates Tony Hawk. This was a skating game before skating games were cool. Like, look at these graphics. They're just not all that well done, but it's an NES game, and it's still a lot of fun to do tricks and skate around and make it to different places on the map is very fun. So I definitely like this game because it is a lot of fun, but it also has a lot of variety, and that's one reason this game had to be on the list is just because of the way that it is, and it's a very good skateboarding game. The next game we have on this list is Super Spike V-Ball / Nintendo World Cup. And I'm only going to be talking about Nintendo World Cup because I feel like that is on this list. Now, Super Spike V-Ball is fun, don't get me wrong, but when we're purely talking about one game each, Nintendo World Cup is the way to go. Honestly, I enjoy playing this game, and anytime I can, I like playing it. The graphics are actually really pretty good for an NES game, and so I like that. It tends to be really cool, and it's something that you don't always see with NES games as the way that they are, but honestly, it's a fun game. It looks pretty good, and the colors are vibrant. Honestly, when I say I like this game, I really do. It is a fun game to play, and for some reason, it doesn't have a demo, and I wish that it did so you guys could see what I'm talking about, but I have some overlay, so I'll show that anyways. But this is a fun game. It's a very, very, very simple game, but I think for me, the graphics are what makes this. This game is a lot of fun. If you like soccer, you can't go wrong with it. And honestly, I enjoy these types of soccer games. So it will definitely make it onto my list because just look at the gameplay, honestly. The next game on this list has to be Tecmo Bowl. And I'm pretty sure everyone would put this on the list because honestly, Tecmo Bowl is a fun game and it looks pretty decent. Like, I wouldn't say it looks great by any means, but it is down to the core a fun football game. And honestly, I feel like some people may have it overrated in their book, but honestly, I really enjoy this game. Like, if you can sit down and play some football on the NES, this is probably the way you're gonna do it. I can't think of any other football games other than NES action football that really even come close. So I had to add this in because it looks and plays so much. I guess looks isn't still the right word. It still looks like an NES game, but it plays well and I very much enjoy that. Which means if I want to recommend you a football game, I'm gonna have to say Tecmo Bowl. It is a bunch of fun. Now I will say Tecmo Super Bowl is better in my opinion, but I could be wrong there as well. However, I think Tecmo Bowl is a perfect fit for a football playing fan or a football fan in general to pick up a game and have some fun. Now it is a very, very, very basic game. It's just top-down football, and I like the fact that you can choose different plays and whatnot, but there's nothing over the top about it. But I think of this game and I enjoyed playing it when I was a kid, and I still do to this day. Like, I sat down and played it for a few minutes and I scored a touchdown and I was like, okay, I gotta keep playing. I mean, I got hooked immediately. So I definitely think Tecmo Bowl is a game that should be on your radar. So last but not least is my favorite sports game and one of my actual favorite games to play on the NES, and it was my very first hockey game that I ever played, and that was Blades of Steel. I'm very biased about this game. I will tell you that coming from the beginning. This game is such a great game and I love playing it. I have it boxed over there on the Game Boy, and if you can't see, my sweatshirt is hockey related, so I had to add this to this list whenever I was thinking about games for this. I have so much fun playing this game and I'm so good at it. Now, I will say I am not very good at playing the goalie, quite honestly. I'm better at being the forward and scoring, and so that tends to help me, but overall, I will say I enjoy this game. It looks pretty good, honestly, but overall, it's a basic game, but I love it so much. I think nostalgia and the fact that this was my first hockey game, I think that really solidified this game as my favorite sports game. But honestly, it's a super fun game. If you've ever played it, playing this multiplayer with friends is a lot of fun. But playing it against the computer is a lot of fun as well. I love going through the tournament and really just digging into the game and having a bunch of fun. So I had to add this to the list because I didn't even need to play through these games and I knew that this was going to be on the list. However, that was my top 5. However, I've got one more that I think you needed to think about, and that is Double Dribble. Now, I will tell you this coming out of it. I played a bunch of NES basketball games for this, and honestly, none of them really stood out to me. They all were kind of bland and boring and kind of hard to tell what was going on. But I will say, this is a fun basketball game if you like basketball games. I somewhat like basketball games, but somewhat I don't, depending on how the game is. Like, I love the arcade over the top ones, but I also love some of the more realistic ones as well. However, I think this is probably the best basketball game on the NES. Now, some people may tell me wrong otherwise and tell me that I'm wrong, but I had a bunch of fun playing this, and honestly, I think this one was definitely the standout, but I couldn't quite include it on the list, so I had to tell you about that. So, with that being said, I want to say thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and make sure you hit that bell notification because it lets you know when I post my videos, which happens to be every day, so be prepared for that. But before you go, I want to say one more thing. Make sure you have a good day.